this is Chris from quiltfabric.com with another really easy quilt that you can make from a layer cake. So first thing you have to do for this one, which by the way, this is the quilt, and it's half background, half layer cake. So whenever you're going to do something like that, layer cakes and jelly rolls have about 3 yards of fabric in them. So if you're going to use 3 yards of this, you need 3 yards of your background. So the first thing is get some background fabric and cut 10-inch squares, just like your layer cakes are 10-inch squares. So that being said, then you're going to take one background and one layer cake square, put them right sides together, and then sew on either side, down this side, down this side. So I've already done one side on this one, and I'm just going to sew the other side. And this is a little easier than having to draw a line or something and then sew on either side of the line. So I'm just using my 1/4-inch foot with a guide on it, and I'm using an angler, which I like a lot, to help me get my straight 1/4-inch seam. And then I have a lot, maybe it's easier to see on this side. Sew down here, sew down here. Now I'm going to cut them down the middle. Something you may not ever have noticed on your mats are that every 5 inches is a little darker color. So the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 are a little darker, and this is 10 inches. So it's pretty easy to plop it down between 2 of those dark lines and then take a ruler, and I'm going to cut it down the middle, so this dark 5-inch in the middle is right in the middle at the 5 inches. It's easier than having to measure. So then I'm just going to go, boom. And now I have 2 like this. Next step is to put these together, right sides, but so the background and print are opposite each other, like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to sew on this side and this side across this. So it's kind of like a goal post. If this is the goal, then you're going to sew on the 2 ends, as opposed to don't accidentally sew it like this. So I'm going to sew on either side here, and these 2 are pressed, so they're going to work easier. So I'm going to sew them on either side quickly. And then guess what I'm going to do? The same thing I did before. So one side there, make sure that my seams are opposing over there, because I pressed to the dark side. So now the dark side, the print side. I just think the dark side reminds me of Darth Vader. Okay, use my scissors button. So now I have sewed on this side and this side, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to plop it down between 2 of those dark yellow lines, take a ruler on another dark yellow line, so I'm cutting 5 inches in between the 10 inches, and ta-da, 2 perfect giant 4 patches. Now comes the fun part, because we're going to use this square on the inside of your mat that you may not ever pay much attention to. So to make this block, it starts with a square like this, but then it's got these pieces around it. So what I'm going to do is take this giant 4 patch, put it down in the middle of my mat here, and I'm going to make cuts that make it look like this. But the first time I did it, I cut 1 3/4 inches on all sides, and that was kind of tedious. And then I went, wait a minute, I'll bet I can use this square here. So if I put this on this middle square of the mat, it looks kind of like a smaller grid, and I want to put my seam that's in the middle on the 5-inch this way, and my seam this way on the 5-inch that way. And as you can see, there's about a 1/4 inch all the way around, which makes sense because I took a seam in the middle, so I took a 1/4 inch off of this side and a 1/4 inch off of this side. And now I'm going to use the grids here, and I'm going to cut 3 inches from the center here, 3 inches from the center that way, and then I'm going to do it side to side. And actually, if you have a rotating mat, at home I use my rotating mat. But for these purposes, 3 inches to the side of the 5 is the 8, and 3 inches to the other side of the 5 is the 2. And then I need to move these out of the way so I don't cut them off. And I'm going to go 3 inches to the side on the 8 again, and 3 inches to the side on the 2, And all that's left to do is just switch them. So the top and bottom go like that, and the right and the left go like that. And see, that's the block. So now all I got to do is sew them back together. So I sew the short sides first, sew them on, sew the long sides on, sew them on. And what happens is I'm going to be left with a block that has a little bit too much fabric here and here and here. So then the last thing to do is trim those off. So there's a couple ways you can do it. One is to just take a straight ruler and cut like that, or at this point it should be 8 1/2. So if you have an 8 1/2 inch square, it's easy to put that on there, and then you're just cutting off those extras. And again, a rotating mat is what I should be showing you. Put that there and there, cut it off, and you've got your blocks. And this is the block. So it doesn't take long at all. It's a lot of fun. Looks like you went to a lot more effort than you did, and the baby's mother will be impressed. By the way, out of a layer cake, you can make at least 3 of these, because this size with 12 blocks used 6 layer cakes. Okay, thanks. Go shop at quiltfabric.com.